So we don't have Prithvi today with us. She is sick, so I'll be alone. And in case you're sending messages on chat, I will try to see them as well. So uh, to start with, of course, really sorry for the voice issue. And I was just talking about our YouTube channel. So in case you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, just go ahead and subscribe. And we will continue to bring uh, more contents for everyone. And as usual, we'll start with the PR, which we opened during the last stream. So, we opened the PR and then gave it to Code Rabbit so it can review the code which we have written, and then we can merge and start with the new feature. So let's go ahead and see that. And today, sorry. So first, let's see how many comments are there. So it says, okay, there are two comments, there are two successful comments, and then there is one issue. Let's see what the issue is, right? So it says, okay, handle remove room is currently no op. Yeah, we discussed about this, right? So during last stream, we said, okay, it's not actually deleting any rooms. It's just like the console.log for which we can actually add features in future. So it's good that, okay, Rabbit is able to tell you that, okay, this is just a placeholder and it's not an actual code. So, when you're doing code review, you can just remove them if needed. And show hotel ID under the ID label. Yeah, actually. So we now have an ID, so we can actually use them. Uh, so this is minor. This is also minor. What is this? It says no rooms available. The action remains clickable even though no rooms available. Yes, of course. Will this is not an actual app. As soon as like we move ahead and add more features, we'll just go through them. So this one, it says, is a major issue. Let's see what is this. Okay. Now it says add explicitly standalone root component decorator, which is not true anymore because Angular has been uh, standalone to true by default since Angular 19. So yeah, this is something which we need to go ahead and check for us and like for the product. So all good. I'll go ahead and merge the PR. So I'll say, okay, this is confirm merge. And let's go back to our editor. I hope you can see this and hope you can hear me still. Let's see. Okay. And yeah, I think it's all good. I can see it's my voice is being detected now. So nice. Okay, let's move to the main branch. And let's just do git pull. So we have all the files which we created previously and in our main branch, and we also have this available locally now. So if I go to property, all these different types of properties which are components which we created, let's see. So let's see what we can do. So when you work on enterprise app, hey, बस ये फिर से uh, Plus, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you? It's been long time since we met. I think 2022. Yeah, I still remember that conference, but yeah, no one wants to remember it. But somehow, the only good part was maybe meeting you and so many other people. And yeah, but all good. I mean, so it's been going great with Gitcode. But we started this live stream series so we can talk about Angular because yeah, I love Angular, so I just wanted to maybe take this opportunity to teach it on live stream. So yeah, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, I mean we should catch up in future. So or you if you come to maybe Hamburg, let me know. Yeah. So yeah, of course is so if you see this message, of course is getting it was not the conference we want to remember, but cool. So, now today what we can do is I was talking about like how you will structure your code, right? And in Angular, we have concept of services. This is something which I really like, which is like when I was moving from .NET, so I was trying out Angular, and I was like, wow, this is nice. So it has concept of services, which is like Hamburg is nice, and Yeah, we just like we now have spring, so I'm not sure like how cold it will be in Glasgow, but yeah, maybe in future, maybe I'll just come and visit you. So the concept of services is like something which we talk about a lot when you are doing a in backend code, right? So what you do is you try to isolate your business layer, database layer into services. Like you will create a library which you can basically call uh, business layer or database layer, whatever, and it's kind of a service, right? So it's very pretty popular pattern in from old days, right? I mean, when people used to write .NET and Angular, .NET or Java. So Angular has that concept. So it's known as service, and you can go ahead and create a service by using the same we have been so far. Uh, okay, so this here. Hey, Ritvik.
Hello, hello. What are we doing?
So we are just starting with the service, so we will try to make our components smaller. And right now we have some data which is lying here. Maybe we can move. And then I got a friend who is in the chat, Fazibir, a good friend of mine. Uh, and yeah, and I was talking on mute for a few minutes because, of course, my personal.
I mean,
And I
I
was
mean,
like,
we kind
oh,
of we kind of did that to ourselves by talking about it yesterday.
yeah, exactly. But this time I was really on mute. Like no one, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, folks, that's why I should probably have someone on the stream just in case.
And then I had to go to YouTube channel just to see like if anyone can hear me, and it was not, so no one could hear me. So even okay, anyways, but yeah, let's see. So we want to move this logic, and I was just talking about like how we do it in the Java or .NET days, right? So in Java or .NET, if you go, you will probably not have all the code inside your controller. Like controller, I mean the concept which people follow is your controller should be very light, right? It should not have a lot of business logic. It should not have maybe making connection to the database. All this should be isolated into your services. So the
Right.
same thing we try to follow here. Yep. Hey, it was there. See you later. So same concept we can follow here. So we can create a service, and what we can do is we have this property folder already, and uh, we can actually do it in multiple ways, right? So when we were talking about, if you remember yesterday, we were talked about like how you structure your code. So same applies to services. So services, the shared services can be moved to maybe a common place, or maybe a shared library. But if it is related to the individual maybe component, you can actually keep it there.
Okay.
And in this case, property is like, dashboard is our maybe root, right? Because, everything is getting rendered here inside this. And when we were talking about the concept of parent child component, we also spoke
Uh-huh.
about like child should be dumb, right? It should not know from where the data is coming.
Right. It should only be
So
rendering stuff.
yeah, exactly. So, you should try to follow the pattern. If maybe if I was a new developer, what I will do is I will just go ahead and add a service here for hostel or hotels, right? So I can say, oh, yeah, I mean, makes sense because hotel is responsible for this data or going to render this data. So I'll just start from here and add a service which gives it data, and then we are good. But in that case, then what we are doing is we are making a component which is very tightly coupled with your data. And maybe in future, let's say if you want to refactor this component, it's a mess because you already have a service which tells you how this component should look like.
Okay.
So okay, maybe this is not the best choice, so I'll just go up one level up. So let's see. Here I will create a service, right? So maybe if we will use the same concept, so NX console generate, and you can just search for something called a service. So if you go to list of things which we can see, there is something known as service worker, and there is something called as service, which says create an Angular service
Uh-huh.
and initialize a service worker. So I think service worker is pretty common. I mean, Priti, you have used service worker before?
I don't remember.
PWAs? Any by any chance? Do you have idea about PWAs?
Yes, progressive web apps, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think like maybe vaguely a couple of times in college.
LinkedIn user, hey, our YouTube streaming doesn't work. What streaming? Okay, I don't know what.
Hey, we are also streaming on YouTube in case that's what
Yes.
you're wondering. So we're not just streaming on uh, LinkedIn. Here's the link. I am flashing it. I am also going to grab it for you and put it in the chat in LinkedIn. So give me 1 second and we'll do that.
A service worker is tightly or closely associated with PWAs actually, in case you want to have a PWA app. How does PWA apps look like? I mean, we are not going to talk in more detail, but maybe we can just check.
Yeah.
Uh, so, okay, where is the browser gone?
I think from what I remember correctly, the PWAs were used, Santosh, so that you could save it on your home screen like an application, but it opens as a web app, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, where is my? Okay, it's here. I don't know why it was not visible. So let's say if I go to my own portfolio, so you can see this button, right? So you can see, okay, install this app. This is PWA. And
Got it.
to make it work, you need service worker, like you need to set up the service worker. So it gives you app kind of a feel on
Yeah.
your desktop and as well as on your mobile. So yeah, here it is. So now it's an app. So yeah, good. So let's go and see what is this. Yeah, it's actually Chrome extension. Okay. So let's go back to the code base. And we will create a service, not service worker. Maybe in future we can also explore like how to make PWA work in Angular. I
Yeah,
believe it's
that's
not,
very interesting.
yeah, it's not like a lot of work to be frank. And so what we can do is, you know, now naming is the hardest part of the job, right? Everyone knows that. So naming a variable, yeah, it's difficult. So uh, we can actually, what should we name it? So we have this service which is not specific to hotel. Maybe we can extend it, like maybe we can have more data which is related to properties. So I
Okay.
think it makes more sense to make it property service.
Do you think we'll have other like multiple services also in the property? Yes, right?
The properties, yes, right? Maybe in future we have delete, maybe add. So CRUD operation basically for each property type. But what changes there is just property type, right? And most of the data will be same. Or maybe if they're different, maybe we can just control it using a flag. So my dashboard service just knows how to maybe do four CRUD
Mm.
operations, and then it can also maybe call other services because that's possible, right? You can have a service which is dependent on the service, same as we do for backend. For example, let's say your controller can call a service which is calling another service which is responsible for actual database operations. If you think about it, I mean, we can just draw a diagram. I love to
Yeah,
draw
I think that's a
diagrams.
good idea. I think that's a good idea because
And
I was just asking you so that we could structure the folder correctly.
yeah,
And I see this
and
LG Samurai in the chat. Welcome.
hey, I don't know why I have those. Oh, okay, I have two restream open. Okay, so we can use maybe any online service uh, for drawing. What do we use for drawing?
Draw.io.
Is that good?
Draw.io, by the way, also has an MCP server now.
Oh, nice. No, who doesn't has
Yeah,
MCP?
that is true. I think
Oh,
next time if someone does not have an MCP server, I'll be like, yeah, you don't have an
see,
MCP
they also have an AI.
server. Nice. The last I knew they had it. I haven't used this in a long time, but this used to be my favorite thing in college to draw diagrams.
So let's see. Let's see if I'm zoomed in. Yeah, this should be okay. So let's say I'm in generally in backend, right? So if this is my product controller, is it visible or should I zoom in more?
I think little bit more, just that bit. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So let's say if you have a product controller, and I'm talking about the backend, not the front end stuff. So you can still go ahead and have let's say this might be a product service, which is maybe doing actual CRUD operations, not, and then your controller can call this, and your product service are just dummies, right? They are not doing anything apart from just calling your database. And this is your DB service, maybe, which is, so this is a wrapper like on top of your databases, and then product controller, which is also very small. So let's say if you want to call add, you just call like give the product data to product service, and product service gives this data back to your DB layer, which is another service. A very common pattern which we follow in when doing patterns.
Got it.
So similarly here, right? So we can actually maybe just do, okay, for now, maybe I'll call it as property service. And interesting part is the naming of the file. So it will be again the same. So I just need to select, okay, this is the app where I want to create a service, and it will be created inside SRC app. And I don't want it to be
That
here.
that was my next question. We want the folder, right?
Yeah. So copy relative path.
So Santosh, if you just add a couple of slashes, yeah, that is what my next question was. There we go. Yes.
Yeah. So I can change like because the last would be the name. So as we saw earlier, right? So for hotel, we said hotel slash hotel. So here also, like I can say, okay, this is property, and there's a path proper path as well, right? I can also give the path here, but you can also control it by using name. So you don't need to provide path. Like I can actually copy this here,
Uh-huh.
and then I can just give the name property, and it will still consider the path. So you see, so SRC app
Yeah.
dashboard.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I got it. That's like how VS Code works also, right? Depending on where you are, it'll automatically start from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Got
So
it.
yeah, so you can the way you want to control it. Yeah. So property.spec.ts, and well, let's go ahead and generate this file. Okay, so dashboard property.ts, and it's actually, you might be wondering, I said, oh, you will be creating a service, and suddenly you have a class with something else. It's called injectable. What is this injectable?
Right.
So, so where's the service? So this is actually a service. And we will talk about like this injectable. It is known as actually decorators. And
We did
decorate,
talk about it a little bit in our second stream, I think.
yeah, we did mention, right? For example, there was component, at the rate component. This is the one we discuss about.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Angular internally needs to figure out what kind of class is this, because everything is a class or function in JavaScript, or sorry, TypeScript, right? And yeah, classes exist in JavaScript as well, to be frank. They do. So Angular needs to figure out like what kind of class is this, and then to figure that out, it has this decorators actually. So to figure out if this is a service, this is injectable decorator. So it tells the compiler, oh, this is a service. It should have specific metadata. It should have specific purpose. So all these things are controlled using injectable. And we talk about this, what this provided in root means. And there is something as platform, which probably you will never use, and what happens in case you remove this property. So
So, Santosh, do you want to zoom in a little bit on your code screen? Just a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
uh, okay, I mean decorators exist, so and as well as classes exist in JavaScript. So, but I like the classes. I mean, okay, cool. So let's see. So what we have done is we created a service, and we will start moving some of the logics from our dashboard component to the service. Yeah, NG Samurai, you're absolutely right. And again, I'm not an AI, so so I mean, this is because Angular follows this pattern now, where it stopped giving you all this property service, property component. Everything is just like if you give it a property, it says okay, it's a property class. That's it. But a lot of us Uh, that's come on. Angular is not that hard. It's very easy. So, but yeah, I cannot argue. I mean, do whatever you like. Uh, So yeah, so we are here now. So you can of course say property service. You can do whatever you want, and NX allows you to control that. NX in here it says they'll be used to create service class spec file. So my service.service and my service.service.spec, and I think they also have add type to class name. Type will be appended to generated class name and false. Only the file name will be included in type at least why it was true and then I don't know. But we should have actually. I also love the old pattern, right? Property service and property component like that. But now we are here. Okay, so let's see. Let's start moving some of the code. I hope you were talking about the same thing. And here, so we can actually move this data first because this is hotel list, and maybe we can just call our service to get everything. Ah, someone actually agrees with Angular. Okay. Okay. So let's see. So
Hey,
I'll say, okay.
Santosh's
So,
best friend.
sorry.
Like, oh, Santosh's new best friend.
Yeah. Okay. So here I'll just say this is empty. I'll just come copy it. Okay. Let's copy this, remove everything, remove the data, make it empty. Right. So we don't have any data now. And let's see. I don't know why my browser is gone every time when I move. Hmm. So we should have empty as there are no hotels now, and you want to bring this data. So what we generally do is you call the service and ask to give you data.
Got it.
So let's go back to your property.ts. Now you can actually have a property and a function which can return you that property or values. So let's say I can have maybe get hotels. Let's say right now it's of course uh, hard coded values, right? But in future stream, we are planning to build the APIs. Prithvi is going to actually walk us through how we do that
Yes.
in TypeScript, right? So there are some endpoints here, and we will replace them and use our own hotels API, something like that. So I'll say get hotels, and I can just return some static values for now, and return. I'll just copy the same values we had. Let's see what we need to remove. Extra closing and this one.
Bye, Fuzzy Bear.
Bye bye. Thanks for dropping by, man. Yeah, I haven't seen my friends for so long. For so long. I mean, I stopped traveling almost 18 months ago. Okay,
We'll
so
get Santosh back on the road sooner or later.
so okay, so let's see. It says okay, get hotels has return type of this array, which looks odd because it should return me signals, right? So we can return a signal, and we can say okay, let's define a property. So I'll say okay, this is hotel. The type we used it last time. Signal of
Yep.
I
Not getting the correct
the
prompt.
black value. So this is how we define it. Do something here, right? So now we have to set the value. So we have to assign this values. So rather than doing return this, we can do return hotels dot set not switch set, and then we can say okay, set the value to the cell. So here, and we can close it here, and let's format document, and we have the correct type, right? So it says, oh, it doesn't return anything. Why? Because we are not returning anything. So because set operation, what it does, it's actually doesn't return anything. It's just a void of. So and then we were doing return here. So I can just write return what is this document and should be done. So it says, okay, now it returns the signal, and uh, we should be able to actually use this value wherever we want to. So this is a set operation, and there is actually another operation which you can do, which generally on signals is update. Let's say you probably want to maybe set a new value or update existing value, right? These are two operations you will be mostly doing in case you're doing a state management. If you think like state management is what like updating your data, right? And having the correct state of your current data which is available. So you can either set a new value or update the existing value. So I'll just say, okay, we have this set, and in future, of course, we can get it removed. Just call the API, and then we are good. So far, nothing changed. We just moved the same code which we had here. It looks much better now. I think we removed whatever 10 lines of code we had to our service. I feel proud. I can say, oh, look, I did a refactor, so I have 10 lines of less code in my component. And yeah, if I have like this is what is going to cost you 3,000 of lines of component, which we discussed in last stream. So why not? Yes. So refactor from day one.
Yes, I totally agree. I think like it's like the variable thing that we spoke about, right? The sooner you do it right, the better.
Yeah. And yeah, and you learn about best practices here. Okay, so now we have this hotel list, which is empty value, and what we want is we need the value from service. How we do that? You know, so I'll talk about the new pattern and old pattern both, because sometime just in case you join a new organization and then you figure out, okay, Santosh said this is how you use it on the stream, but I don't find it. So first, let's go with the new pattern. I think maybe because we are talking about the latest Angular. What do you think?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. So folks, we're first talking about the new pattern in case someone comes and tells us.
So this is something which is available since Angular 14. And if you're wondering, if you're coming from React and you're wondering what Angular 14, yeah, I mean, we don't skip the versions. We just don't directly save, hey, here is React 18 or React 16. Where is React 13? No one knows. So yeah, we don't do that here.
Oh, I want to ask Code Rabbit this in one of my PRs next time.
Oh, where is React 13?
Where is React 30?
Okay, don't kill me if you find me at some conference or a React conference. Oh my God, we are traveling to React Miami, right? I need to be like, yeah, I
Folks,
need to save myself.
yeah. Folks, Santosh is going to be at React Miami in case you want to learn Angular.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not now. Okay, good. So, yeah. So since React 14, God. Since Angular 14, actually, you can use this function. It's actually a function. So as I said, like, so you can actually use something known as inject function, and then you can pass the service which you want to use. So I can say, okay, the service which you want to use is property, and then you can say dot, and you can say get hotels. That's it. Single line of code, nothing else. No complications here. So just call the function, inject function, and just get the data what or call the function which you want, right? And you can like right now, if you think about it, I'm just calling the get hotels, and I'm setting the data and getting the new record, right? So of course, if I had like a state management thing, maybe I don't want to maybe call my function. I can just call my property as well, maybe because it's a sorry, it's a public property, right?
Right.
In case it's a private, of course, generally it is recommended that you should not share your private variables. So let's say in case you decide, oh, I don't want to actually make it available, I can just make it private, and then that's a different stuff. You won't be able to access it, but you can still go ahead and access it using get right? So choose whatever pattern you like,
I got it.
and I'll just for making it easier, I'll just keep it public for now. And I wanted to talk about one more thing. I don't know. You know, we have habit of writing this private thing,
Yes.
but JavaScript actually allows you to have another syntax for private variables.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
interesting.
not a lot of people do use it. It's called hash.
Got
Mm.
it.
So this is also a way to actually tell that okay, this is a private property, and let's see if it actually is. This is not visible.
Got
Yep.
yes.
Yeah. So you can actually just go ahead and yeah, Abhishek, yes. So hash, not many people do actually use it. They think this is something maybe JavaScript thing. Of course, it is JavaScript thing, but JavaScript TypeScript is what superset, right? So you can of course remove private, just use hash, and it should work. Generally, I've seen developers doing this. Uh, yeah, uh, and Samra, you're correct. Yeah, you're right. So generally people do it because they like to use public, private, protected. Yeah. But yeah, you can just do this as well. Let's remove, and I can just do get hotels. And now we can actually just verify if things work or not. So we can just go back to your UI and see, oh, we have all the data back,
Mm-hmm.
all good. And let's see, yeah, let's inspect. So this is one thing which I wanted to show you is, we have Angular Devtools, which we installed last time.
Yes.
And if I go back to dashboard, and there's something known as injected tree.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
you can also, yeah, so this is also nice. So you can actually see like how your maybe components are connected, interconnected. So it says, okay, right now you have a dashboard which has hotel, and maybe if I go back to motel, you say it says dashboard, but there is no other component, right? This is like your entire dependency tree. So I
That's
can
actually very
also,
cool. Uh, Dinesh, can you
sorry,
also zoom into the DevTools?
yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah. Sense. So I'll just drag it more. Maybe let's see the element hierarchy first, and then we'll talk about this environment hierarchy. So if I go back to hotels, you see it says, okay, there is an app. We discussed about this, right? I mean, whatever theory we spoke about is actually visualized here right now.
Very
We
cool.
said, okay, we have a root component called app, yes, and then it loads dashboard, yes, and dashboard loads hotel. Yes, that's what is happening here. If I go back to motels, we see, okay,
Oh, that's very cool.
there's nothing else, like, because we haven't created any component. I mean, we have component, but we are not loading it.
That is incredibly cool.
Now, let's get back to this thing. Uh, so it's actually says environmental hierarchy. This is very nice way to figure out like what are different services which you are using. So, whenever you are using a service, it needs to be registered. Yes, that's a concept. It needs to be registered. Where?
Oh,
Question is
the
where? Where
service.
it needs to be registered.
The service.
Yeah, I mean it needs to be registered by your framework, right? I mean, if you want to just mention it in a simple term, that it needs to be registered by your framework. Your framework should know that okay, this service exists. But it's not here. It's not at dashboard level, it's not at app level. So where is this gone? So this is where this comes into picture. So if I go back to the root
Uh-huh.
and I'll say hide framework injectors. Okay, so I'm ignoring all the injectors which is provided by framework itself. And let's click on this and try to see if we have property here. Okay.
All good?
Yeah, no, it was just my headphone wire which got removed. So okay, so it says okay, we do have a property token. So there are search by type, use class, use factory, use existing. There are different types which maybe we can explore in future, but this is the one which we have, right? The our class name is what property. It's called property, which is an odd name actually. Now I'm realizing what NG Samurai was trying to say. It really is a odd name. So let's rename something else. Uh, Property maybe. Let's use the legacy way, right? So I said property service. Oh my god, Angular just made like naming so much harder. Okay, let's rename property service. And dashboard. I will change this as well and remove. Okay, so I hope everything is green now. And let's see our console. Okay, so page refreshed, everything is green. And let's get back to our browser. So I'll just remove the element hierarchy right now. Come back here and click on the root and look for something known as property. Yeah. Now it's maybe more and maybe we'll be able to understand more because
Mm.
property can be anything, right? What?
Exactly. I think we did because we also spoke about HTML properties just in the last stream.
uh, Okay, cool. So we have this property service which is actually registered on your root. From the diagram, I think you can figure that out. That because we clicked on root and we are looking for all the providers. So by default, whenever you create a service, you actually explicitly register it on the root. So what is root? Again, a good question.
The entry point of
Yeah.
our
Of our app, right? So this is where, so like the root component, right? Whatever component you bootstrap in your root is, this is where your entry point begins. And from there onwards, anyone will have access to this particular service.
got
So,
it.
so right now, this service can be accessed by everyone who is maybe direct or indirect descendant of your uh,
Project.
app component.
Got it. Makes sense.
So until unless you try to bootstrap another app, we, then in that case, that they will, so that app will have their own injector tree, and maybe the service won't be available there. This is very rare
Makes
in Angular, but so okay. So now let's go ahead and see what we did so far. So property service, yeah. Where did we define that we want to provide it in root? It's here, right? So provided in root means I'm explicitly providing this particular service inside root, and everyone can access it. Now let's do the interesting part, right? Let's remove it. Okay. So I removed it, and let's save. And okay, everything is compiled properly. There's no error. Let's see our app. There's nothing on the app. Let's see the console. And this is very, in Angular 4, 5 times, this used to be like very popular error. And if you still go to, like, if I still search for it, maybe I'll find hundreds of blog posts talking about this error. So Angular team got like maybe got the idea that, oh, this is hard. Like people don't know, maybe uh, people are not maybe reading maybe documentation enough, to figure out like how to use the service. So they said, okay, let's do one thing. We will provide the service by default. We will register it for you, and then you can change the behavior as you want. So in case you have a service where the injectable is not available here, I mean the injectable provided in root, which we had before, it means you have to register it manually.
Got it.
And that's a very valid use case in case you want to isolate a service. Let's
Mm,
say we will talk about it as well. So let's move on, and then first let's fix this error. So we've now added it back. Our data is back. The error is gone, and let's see how we can use it in older pace, right? In case you are writing a code for Angular 14 or like below, or in case someone tells you, "Oh, don't use this pattern, the inject pattern," because yeah, I have heard from few of my friends where the team lead said, "Okay, don't use this," and I was like, "Why? This is the standard practice." Because maybe people don't know that now this is the standard practice and you should be using it, and they want to enforce it on others, which is not right thing to do. Basically, you should understand that okay, try to be on the uh, latest thing what or latest practices which framework is adopting. So let's see the old way. So I think everyone knows about constructor. I don't have to talk a lot about constructor.
yes.
So to initialize or maybe to create an instance of a class, you call a constructor. Very notebook, or maybe this is might be the first thing which you read up in your book, programming book, right? So C plus no, C doesn't have classes, right? C plus plus, right?
Correct. CVP Java is the common place where you start learning about constructors.
So one more thing which is very common in constructors is injecting something. You might have heard about maybe constructor based injection in case you started with
Spring?
Java. Spring, yeah, Spring, right? I think it's very common. Or even in Java, in .NET world, it is very common to have constructor
Mm.
based injection because Java and .NET is so similar. And the only thing is, of course, again, C# is much better than Java.
So many fires you can start, Santosh.
Yes, yeah, and much better than C++ for sure. Okay, okay, I'm not traveling to any Java conference so soon. So
Well, now I know where to ask Arvind to send you next.
so constructor-based injection, right? So for a long time, this was the only way to actually use a service. So I can say, okay, this is private property service, and yeah, you can accept. So it says, okay, I can inject a service using constructor-based injection, where I say, okay, property service is like we are creating an instance. This is what we are doing, right? We are creating an instance of this particular class, but we are not directly creating it. Do anyone knows the concept, like what it is called? We are not creating an instance directly.
Mhm.
Very famous in, I think it's what you call it in Spring as well. It's called dependency injection, DI.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Angular has this feature, like one of the first framework to have dependency injection built in from day one. It was not from Angular, but from Angular JS days. So Angular JS also had this concept of dependency injection. So this is what we're doing. So we are doing dependency injection here, and now you can see I can just go ahead and use this particular service, and it says there is an error. So as framework progresses, they change the best practices. They have to enforce the practices as well. Good thing we have linting rules available now. It's not like older days where someone has to read the document and say, hey, this line number 5 says you shouldn't be doing this. So you don't have to do that anymore. Thanks, whoever like started writing all these linters, and you save a lot of time for everyone. So now it says, okay, you don't have to actually do this, but this is what we used to do before the inject function came into existence. So don't do this anymore until this, yeah, you are using an older version of that. So I just remove this because this is that code anyways, and you can just rely on the inject function. Perfect. Bye. Okay, so now we have a few 15 minutes. Yeah, hope we don't get an error. I think we already introduced an error and we fixed it.
Yes.
So we will play with this injection token. Maybe I mean whatever injection token or maybe injection tree a little bit. So let's see. One more thing, right? As soon as I removed this code from my component to here, you see, I also removed the interface. The interface is gone. Like if I go to the difference, so I'm just not like saving this many lines of code. I'm also removing some of the references which probably are unnecessary now because now it can infer the type. So if you see it says hotel list is of type I hotel, it knows
Right.
the type. So I don't have to explicitly tell Angular
Mm,
go ahead and import this type as well. And
very
yeah,
cool.
and this is a TypeScript feature. I don't have to like tell that okay, Angular did this. But yes. Okay, so now let's go back and we will talk about the injection tree, which we saw. And again, where is my browser gone? Yeah, it's it. Okay, so let's go back to Angular. We spoke about the injected tree in part. And let's drag this person here. Right now, it's actually available. The service which we provided is available here. Root, right? The app says it has no providers. And same for dashboard. So currently, the service we have is actually uh, shared. What I mean by shared. When I say shared, what we mean by shared?
It's accessible by other components.
Yes, it is. What else?
Mm, shared.
In technical term, we can say okay, it has the same instance available for everyone.
Oh, got it.
It's a class, right? It's a
Got
class.
it. Yes.
So it has same instance available for everyone. And if I inject this particular service at multiple component, let's see what happens, right? So I can do the same. Yep, single Abhishek says single instance for all. So I can do that. Actually, let's copy this line hotel list here from dashboard to app, right? So this is another component which we have. And I'll import the service. I'll import the inject function. Yep, quick fix, update import. So now we have two places where we are injecting property service. And let's see what happens. We just added console.log, right? The best way to debug your application. Yeah,
So, is there a way to add breakpoints in here, Santosh?
good. Good reminder. I should add that. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see that. So right now I'm using property service at two places, your app as well as your dashboard component, and it is getting initialized only once.
And it's
So
makes sense.
you can actually add breakpoint. You can just go to the service or file, and then maybe if I reload, yeah. So this will be a breakpoint, right? So you see like of course what is happening inside this function. So this is how it's the same. Like it's same as you might do in React or Next.js or any other framework, right? Wherever you have a TypeScript file which is available on client side, not server side. So if you have a server side code, you will not see it here. You will see it in console.
Got it.
And maybe if you want to debug that, you don't need to actually run inside your browser. You can just actually start node debugger, and then adds a breakpoint there, and then you can debug it, the server-side code.
Interesting.
Cool. So now we have only one instance of your class. You know, maybe most of the cases this is fine. Like you might just need a single instance of your class. But is this the case like always? Maybe not, right?
No,
Maybe
you want
maybe
base. Hmm. accessible as per the different requirements, right?
Yeah. True. Maybe you just want to create a new instance of that particular service, so you have some new data and you are
Fresh.
not bringing. And I have burned my fingers actually working on a large app. So what we were doing. So we were creating a form dynamically. So users can select, okay, I need maybe four drop downs, four text box, and maybe a button, two buttons, and then they can submit, and then they get a nice UI with all those controls available. And I was refactoring. I was like, maybe not new, but yeah, also had already had few years of experience working on it. But I was someone who knew the framework from outside. Like, oh, I know this service and I know everything. Uh, Angular 6 came in, and we were on Angular 8, and most of our code was legacy, like Angular 4 code base. And I was refactoring. So I thought, oh, why this service doesn't have any provided in root? So what I did is, first thing, just let's go ahead and add the provided in root, right? Because I went to the documentation, and it says, oh, when you create a new service, or the CLI also said, when you create a new service, we register it by default. And I was like, oh, this looks nice. I should do it. And suddenly, uh, when I changed everything, I added controls. I went to another screen, came back, and suddenly I had like my entire UI was frozen. And
Oh,
I'm wondering what happened, what went wrong. And then I opened the debugger and I figured out that now it had 200 controls.
oh,
And as soon as your DOM tree becomes bigger, your browser crashes. Your browser won't be able to actually render everything. And 200 controls, like just think about like how big the DOM tree would be.
insane. That sounds, yeah, that sounds dirty, really
Yeah.
chaotic.
But yeah, I mean, good thing was I was able to actually capture
Debug.
this error before I went to production. So otherwise I would have broken everything. So then I realized, oh, so you don't have to always share the same service. You should always have uh, maybe based on your requirement, right? If you need a new instance or not, it should be controlled by you. How we can do that? Um, so let's see. So on dashboard, what I will do is I will create a new instance of my property service when we reach to dashboard. To that, we can actually add, sorry, we can actually pass something known as providers and say, okay, provide this particular service. And that's it. Let's go back and let's see the browser. I'll just close the debugger. First thing which we will do is we will see the console, and it says property initialized, and it's twice. So who's doing it twice now? So the first is your root, which was already there.
Mm-hmm.
And second is your dashboard, because it said we actually told dashboard that you should have your own instance of this particular property service. Be careful, like how you are actually registering your services. I mean, I gave you a real life example, how I broke my app almost. So, and we can actually also verify, let's say if you're new to a team, right? And you want to figure out like how the services are registered. So you can also go to the tree element hierarchy and go to dashboard now. So you see there is one particular provider. And if I see which provider is that, it says property service. So you know that, okay, dashboard has its own instance for this particular services. I can do as many as I want, but in this case, we have one. And figure this out. The Angular Devtools is amazing. You can just actually see everything here. And if I go back to environment hierarchy, okay, let's uh, and go to root and again search for property. So we already have instance which is available for property service in root. So there are two instances right now. So one which is shared singleton, can be available for everyone. And there is another one which is local to dashboard, and it's child's. So remember, when you give a service to parent, it's
Hmm.
the same instance will be available to child's as well,
Right.
until unless you go ahead and override it by explicitly saying hotel will have its own instance as well.
Got it.
This is how you can play around and register
Very cool.
service.
I
And
love the UI thing on the Angular Devtool.
it's nice. I mean, they're improving. I think for a longer period of time, it was broken. I think so. In case you got into issue previously, you can. And I can also actually, do here. I can say, okay, now providers, and I can register property service here. So now I will have three instances actually rather than two. So if I go back, so app has its own instance. If you see, like dashboard have its own instance, and there is nothing with hotels, right? And uh, in console, you should see it three times. Uh, there's only two: property service initialized, property service initialized, and what happens to the root. Okay. Mhm. So let's see root. Okay, property. Oh, it's removed. Okay, this is interesting. Now it actually figured it out that okay, this particular property is maybe used in app directly, so it removed it from root. This is nice. I was not aware of this. Okay, so now we have two instances still, but we are just directly registering it here on app, and this is the second one on dashboard. So this is how you can actually change it based on your requirement. Remove this, so we have.
So we're removing it because we don't need it directly there anymore, or it's being provided by another component.
It's already in root, right? So
Got it.
anyways, it will have access to this one, and we wanted to just have two instances anyways. But I can just register it here, and maybe this is nice. So I think this is it for today. I think you know about services, how you can control it, but there is more. Back in day, I think I created a YouTube video where for 90 minutes or more than 90 minutes, I was just talking about services. Uh, So maybe we'll continue with the services, like how you can register it, use it in different ways. Where you can register services, what are the other places, you can also register it. What's that? .ts and yes, you can also register it inside app config. There is a providers area here as well, but this is different. This is, if you see, this is something known as environment providers, and it can also have providers, so you can also do it here. But we'll see different ways to do it.
Sounds fun. We'll also drop the other services video that Santosh spoke about in the chat next time.
So for yeah, that's it for this week. We will be back with stream next week, Wednesday and Thursday. And to make everyone's life easier, I just added it on my calendar. So if you go to santoshadhav.dev, we have a community calendar, which lists all the events which we are doing. So we have an office hours every Wednesday, two office hours. One is in morning time, India, and to cover India and Europe, and there is an evening time which you can also join in case you are in US or other time zones. So whichever works for you, and then this is our live coding series. And if you add more, we will just go ahead and keep updating the same calendar.
Yep, and we have a bunch of really cool folks coming to talk to with us on Discord, so that'll be fun.
Okay. So you can also add to calendar. So in case you want to subscribe to this calendar, just go ahead and say add to calendar, and it will be added. So that's it for the day. Thank you again, Ritvik, for joining. I hope you get better soon, and uh, we will talk about the API part next week. And continue
Fun.
using the services. So see ya.
Yes,
Bye
very
bye.